Hello guys, welcome to IB360. So today we will start with eukaryotic cell. In our previous videos we have already dealt with prokaryotic cell. Please go and check those videos out first. Okay, today's class we will mainly focus on cell wall of plant cell to be more precise. However, by eukaryota we know that an organized nucleus and double membrane cellular organelles is implied by the term eukaryota. And apart from kingdom Monera, all other kingdoms they display eukaryotic organization: protists, fungi, plants, animals. Most animals, in fact all animals and most protists, they lack cell wall. Sometimes they show cell coat like structures which are similar to glycocalyx and mainly made of oligosaccharides, which are similar in function to cell wall. And in human beings the WBCs they use the cell coat composition to differentiate between body cells and foreign microbes, to differentiate between these two structures. And cell coats they provide a certain shape to the cell. They are also protective in nature, so mostly similar with respect to cell wall, and found in many animal cells and also in protists, many protists. Today's class will mainly focus on plant cell wall, so let us move on to that. And before that, we should understand that wall-less cells are usually irregular. So the cell wall we talk about in plants is hugely responsible for providing rigidity to the plant cells, and also uh, very well defined demarcation between the surrounding and the intracellular structure. Cell wall was first seen in cork cells by Hooke in 1665. In our first class, we had already talked about Hooke, who is known as the discoverer of cell. The compartments he saw under his own developed microscope were actually cell walls. So from that only the term cell arrived. Cell wall is non-living in nature, but still it shows expansion, it shows growth. It's a very interesting and fascinating phenomena. And two interesting processes are involved. One is intersusception and second is accretion. So intersusception is basically when you already have a membrane. Suppose this is a membrane and these are the components of the membrane, and from some other environment new substances are coming and they are getting deposited and incorporated within the already existing membrane. And this is how the length or the capacity of the already existing membrane increases. So we say that the membrane is growing. So this is intersusception. That means within the existing membrane, extra membranous substances are coming and adding up to it. But as far as accretion is concerned, it is that the membrane was existing and the extra membranous substances came and didn't incorporate into or within the already existing membrane, rather on it, and that created a new membrane. That is accretion. So due to these two processes, the cell wall, which is non-living in nature, shows a sort of growth, apparent growth. And intersusception occurs in primary wall and accretion occurs in secondary wall. We will talk about the three layers of cell wall in the next part of this video, but these two processes are very significant when it comes to growth, apparent growth of the cell wall, which is completely non-living and yet showing growth. Okay, so functions of cell wall, there are many functions of cell wall, but the main significant ones, the first one is very basic, that is prevention against mechanical injury, so mechanical support. Second is protection against pathogens. Third is providing rigidity and imparting a certain shape to the cell. Another very important thing is symplastic pathway. The pits within the cell wall, they allow intercellular communication, or we can say in a more sophisticated manner, protoplasmic continuation. So there are many other functions of cell wall, also cutin or suberin, which are depositions of cell wall. They are having a lot of function like prevention of water escape, prevention of water loss through transpiration, or imparting impermeability to cell wall, which is important for transportation of water in root system. We see that the endodermal cells, they have suberin deposition, so that turns the cell wall impermeable. There are a lot many other functions, but these are some of the significant ones: mechanical support, protection, rigidity, symplastic pathway. Another apoplastic pathway we have learned in our classes, but this is different. This is intercellular, which is within the cell, establishing a certain communication between cells, protoplasmic continuum, and also certain depositions like cutin, suberin, sometimes lignin. They're providing hardness, extra stability, impermeability, then prevention towards water loss and all these. Okay. Chemical composition of cell wall. Cell wall is mostly made up of water, but before that, you see there are three demarcations: matrix, microfibrils, and other ingredients. Hemicellulose is 5 to 15%. Hemicellulose's main job is to establish attachment within microfibrils and the matrix. There are pectic substances, and these are responsible for maintaining the hardness. For fruits which soften, we see often that the fruits are softening. In them, the calcium, magnesium pectates, they are solubilizing, partially solubilizing, and that results to some jelly-like consistency in them. Microfibrils, they are cellulose, or in fungi, they have chitin-like substances. Now, both cutin and suberin, they are actually fatty substances, and cutin, it prevents transpiration. We all know that, and mainly found in on epidermal cells. Suberin mainly found on cork cells, on endodermal cells, and provides impermeability. On cork cells and on endodermal cells. Lignin, it reduces water content of the matrix. We see that matrix has 60% water. So lignin reduces water content of the wall matrix and increases its hardness. However, water permeability is not fixed. So still cell wall remains impermeable to water. Remains permeable to water. Impermeable thing is done by suberin. But lignin doesn't turn it impermeable. Still, cell wall remains permeable to water. And it increases hardness many folds. That it does. Fungal cellulose is similar to chitin. So this is a general chemical composition of cell wall. You can take a screenshot of this. We have mainly matrix, the ground substance, and on the ground substance, these hemicellulose pectic substances, they are floating. Hemicellulose mainly incorporates microfibrils like cellulose or chitin to the matrix, and these are other ingredients which are mainly for secondary jobs like prevention of transcription, or increasing hardness, or inducing impermeability, and these are highly localized. That means they are found on certain region of the plant. They're not general structures as per. Other than that, silica, waxes, and tannins are also there. Okay. Now we will talk about structure of cell wall in much more details. Cell wall can have up to three parts. What are the three parts? Let us see. Middle lamina, middle lamella, primary wall, and secondary wall. So middle lamella is the first layer which forms at the time of cytokinesis. So this is the red substance is the middle lamella in this diagram, this red substance, and it acts like a cement between adjacent cells. It is more like the brickwork of the common wall between two adjacent rooms. So middle lamella, since they are found between two adjacent cells, so they would be absent on the outer side of surface cells like epidermal cells, and middle lamella mainly made up of calcium and magnesium pectates. Calcium and magnesium pectates. And the softening of ripe fruits is caused by partial solubilization of pectic compounds to produce that jelly-like consistency which I was talking about. So middle lamella is the first structure, first layer, which forms during cytokinesis, and all other structures, that means primary wall or secondary wall, they would be formed inner with respect to middle lamella. Inner means towards the protoplasm of the cell. So if this is the middle lamella, then these would be the primary and secondary cell wall structures. Primary wall produced inner to the middle lamella, and it is commonly thin. It is almost 0.123 μm. And I was talking about intersusception or addition of materials within existing wall. So that happens in primary wall. This thing, intersusception, that means addition within existing membrane, this happens inside primary wall, and that results to stretching or expansion of primary wall. Also, one important aspect of primary wall is it contains a protein called expansion, and this protein is largely responsible for the loosening and expansion of cell wall through incorporation of more cellulose. Some cells possess only primary wall, like leaf cell, also cells of cortex and pith. Okay, then comes secondary wall. Now, secondary wall is produced in some mature cells when the latter have stopped their growth, like in fibers, in tracheids, vessel elements, tracheids, vessel elements. And the process of accretion, that is deposition of materials over the surface of existing structure, that is seen in secondary wall. And secondary wall is thick. It is almost 3 to 10 μm. And a very important thing is usually they are of several layers. They are made up of at least three layers, which are again S1, S2, S3, as you can see in this diagram. So this is the lumen. That means this is where the sort of, if it is a living cell, then protoplasm would be found. If it is a dead cell, then it would be hollow almost. So just immediate to the protoplasm, we have the secondary wall. So this is the entirely the secondary wall. It has several layers, S1, S2, S3. Then this is the primary wall, and the outermost layer is the middle lamella, which is consisting of calcium and magnesium pectate, and providing a cementing between adjacent cells. Secondary wall, if it is consisting of more than three individual layers, it would be called then tertiary wall. And this tertiary wall is responsible for tension in gymnosperms, tension of the wood in gymnosperms. And another important thing is secondary wall may be absent or irregularly deposited or formed uniformly in the cells, and this would result in differentiation of cells, like difference between parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, tracheids, and vessels. And this is a very important facet actually. As you can see, this is two adjacent cells in this diagram, and this is one cell and this is another. In between, middle lamella act as a cementing material. These are the three individual layers of secondary wall, and this is the primary wall. Then we will talk about plasmodesmata and desmotubule. So plasmodesmata, they ensure intercellular communication. They are nothing but protoplasmic continuum. Plasmodesmata, they ensure that the endoplasmic reticulum of two individual cells of two other different cells, they are establishing a communication within each other. You see, this is a SCR, smooth endoplasmic reticulum of this cell. This is one cell, cell number 1. This is another cell, cell number 2. And this is the division in between them. This is the middle lamella. This part is the middle lamella, which is acting as a cementing thing between these two cells. And this is the desmotubule. Desmotubules are nothing but extensions mm, or we can say tubular extensions of SCR, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And the thing which is enclosing this desmotubule is the plasmodesmata. Plasmodesmata are nothing but channels between two adjacent cells, and they ensure symplastic pathway, that means through cytoplasm. And also, when we are talking about plasmodesmata, we should remember that they can be simple or branched also. So if there are only one such tube, then they would be simple. If there are several, then they would be branched. Cell wall and intercellular spaces form the non-living component of the plant body, and that is the apoplasm. But with respect to plasmoderma, the diameter mainly extends between 40 to 50 nanometer. Okay, so this tubular extension of endoplasmic reticulum, there the desmotubule we have already talked about. The space between desmotubule and plasmodesmata, that means this region, if I remove this thing, this region has like 10 to 8 to 10 microchannels. Since this is all nothing but a cross section of the diagram, so we won't be able to understand, but it has 10 to 8 to 10 microchannels. Okay, so this is all about plasmodesmata and desmotubule. Plasmodesmata are intercellular channels, and the uh, endoplasmic reticular tubular extensions which they are enclosing are the desmotubule. Then comes pit. Pits are unthickened areas in the secondary walls of plant cells. So they will appear as depression, and they mainly consist of primary wall and middle lamella. They are devoid of the secondary wall. They can be simple, they can be bordered. We have a diagram over here. If it is simple, that means simple circular, then it will be somewhat like this in 3D. It will not have secondary wall, it will have a middle lamella, it will have a part of the primary wall. And if it is bordered, it will appear like this in 3D. They are nothing but pits, depression on cell wall. In bordered pit, the pit chamber is flask shaped, as we can see, because the secondary wall overarches its mouth like this. And pit membrane is permeable. It may have many minute submicroscopic pores. Therefore, pits help in rapid translocation between adjacent cells. So as you can see that these structures, pits, then plasmodesmata, they are helping in translocation within cells, and this again enhances the symplastic pathway or symplastic communicative capability of cell wall. So today we talk about cell wall. We have already talked about cell wall, and in the next classes we will move on to plasma membrane, and like that we will also complete eukaryotic cells. Till then, stay safe, and thank you guys for watching the video. Uh, Share with among your friends, and also subscribe our channel IB360. Thank you.